All right. All right, welcome back to Culp's Distraction Depot. I finally got my block back from the machine shop. I use Jim's Machine Shop in Paragould. I love that guy. Super nice guy, very personable. I've never really had any issues. But, I've taken a few things back and he just fixed it immediately. No problems. So I got my block. My cylinder head's over there. And there's my crank over there in the corner you can't see. What I like to do to start with is, he probably already did this, but I like to go through and just chase everything. This is just a thread chase kit. I just like to go through, chase every single thread hole, and then I like to clean it, wash it, oil it, and then we'll start the old assembly process, as it were. Well, let me get these chased, and then I'll be back. Like I said, I'm going to chase everyone. If it's got threads, I'm going to chase it. I think that's the best way to do it. Got me a little cut right there. All right. All right, I got a bunch of different brushes. A buddy of mine bought a couple of these for me. Build an engine for him. Now, also, let me preface by saying I'm not an engine builder. I've rebuilt a handful of engines with varying degrees of luck. Sometimes it worked out really good. Sometimes I still wonder to this day what happened to them engines. But anyways, so, whatever advice that you want to take from me, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not perfect. I've done this a handful of times and I've had pretty good luck. I really love doing this. I'm telling you, I love doing this. But, so, I got my block. I got all the threads. That's the word, threads. Chased. Everything's looking good. Now I'm just going to soap him up and to get whatever the machine shop, left in there. Get everything, all the metal shavings or, just whatever could be in there. Give him some scrubbings. Get him cleaned up. And then, gonna have to, that water's hot. I got hot water out of the kitchen. Let me go ahead and plumb these lifter bores, oil passages. Once you get this part done, give him a rinse off. And then you got to be pretty quick about getting some oil on him because, this machine surfaces are going to flash rust super fast. I shouldn't have put that brush in that hole. It was, okay. We're doing it though. Keep on moving. I feel like that if you do do the very best that you can and don't skip anything, then at least you can say, hey, did the best I could, bud. And you got a way better chance of success than as if you, intentionally skip a step. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I have intentionally skipped some steps. Man. So even after I scrub this thing, there's filth on it. I mean, you can see, no, some of that filth could be coming off of my hand. I'm a pretty dirty guy. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I don't think so. And I'll do a final, you know, before I stab the pistons or whatever. I'll do a final little cleaning. I got a geez, that scared me. All right. Now, the way that I check bearing clearances is I clean everything. So the block's clean. I'm ready to start checking bearing clearances. And I like to use a, I like to mic the crank. And then I've got a dial bore gauge, and I'll set it to whatever the diameter is of, let me show you, because I can't really explain stuff. These bearings I got off of the Rock Auto, they are Engine Tech. They're pretty cheap, but you know, I did that old Gold Truck with Engine Tech stuff, and that thing was a champ. It ran really good, and I didn't have any issues. So I put the bearing in, put the cap on. Let me get a little bit of Earl. Pause. I'm just going to use some of this driven break-in oil. That'll good. Alright. Also got myself a new torque wrench I'm pretty excited about. I've never had a beam type torque wrench. It's an Icon. It was pretty reasonable. 130 bucks, 140 bucks. And as I was walking out of the store, I had several fellas tell me, boy, you're really going to like that torque wrench. That thing's awesome. So I hope I do. Let's see. The torque spec is, I just wrote it down. 65 to 70. So let's go 70. I always like to err on too much because it just feels right. That don't feel right. Let's see how this dude does. Well, I mean, I started to say, does it ratchet? Can I get on this other side? Yeah. And I know some people say, oh, you got to do this in steps. But you can feel them steps. I mean, I've been turning wrenches a pretty good while. You can feel them. Oh, was that it? I don't, you know. Oh, that's clicked. Yeah. I like that. That's nice. Okay. So, that bearing's in. All right. So, I'm not a machinist either. I'm not an engine builder. I'm not a machinist. I've got a little bit of skill in doing some of this stuff. And like I said, I love doing it. To me, this is easier because I see people use the plastic gauge, and it is easier. And if you don't do a bunch of engines, and I don't do a bunch, but I've done several. I've done enough to, one Christmas, I finally bought a set of really nice Mitutoyo gauges, or mics. So the way that I like to do it is I mic all the journals. I write them down. And let me tell you something else. I want you to just Google 300 inline-6, you know, say Ford 300 inline-6. I've always considered myself a very good Googler. I can Google stuff pretty quick and find, you know, I can find the information I need pretty quick. But main journal, man, I couldn't find it. I looked all over, and the stupid Google AI just kept giving me different answers. Oh, it's 2120. Oh, it's 22. It's 230. Anyways, I measured my crank, and then I took what Jim told me he took off of it, 10 thousandths. Let me walk you over here. Anyhow, what you do is you measure every journal with this, okay? And then, boop, 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 boop. Let's go over here. And let me show you what I got. Here's all the measurements that I got, and Jim is pretty daggum good. I mean, that dude got almost spot on. And you know, I've checked them. I checked them several times, several places. I feel pretty good about this. But so 2398 is factory, minus he took 10 off, and it's 2388 on every one. Now on the rods, the factory rod is 2123. He took off 20 thousandths, and they're all 2103. Every one of them. Within a few 10 thousandths. And I mean, so like I was saying about, if you do the best possible job you can, you got a way better chance of not failing. And I know that sounds redundant, but if you just guess at it, or if you just shoot it or whatever, just go down as precise as you can. And if it ain't right, you're off a little bit, then you're only off a little bit. You're not off a whole bunch. So, I don't know, I got off on a rant there. Let me go back. Measure all the rods. The plastic gauge, you have to clean everything, put everything in, put everything on, torque it, take it all off, and I got to clean the plastic gauge off, scrape it off, then lube everything. You got to do that dry. With this method, you don't put anything in dry. You don't put anything in until you're ready to go. You'll know all your measurements. And I set this to my main size, and then I'll size this to that, and then I'll put it in, and whatever it shows is the difference in the journal diameter and the bearing housing. And I'm going to show you because I got to see stuff. I'm a very visual learner, so I'll show you what I'm doing. I stick this little rig in here, and I zeroed it. See that? 0. All right. Now this is set up to the journals, the main journals. Because they're all so close, I can just leave this where it is. I can put the main bearings in, torque it, check it. That's my clearance. The next one, main bearing in, torque it, check it here, you know, that's my clearance. All right, let's go over here and I'll show you how to do it. All right, now this one's in. I'm just going to ease this in here gingerly. Okay, appears I got a little issue. I can't really, I can't get my gauge down. You know, Mama said there'd be days like this. I get this one from the back, but now the next one is going to be the same deal. May have to take that little protective case off. All right, let me try that. Give me a second. I've had this dial bore gauge for a long time, and I've never had that protective cover off. I didn't know if it came off. I don't know. But check this out. So, I don't think that you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to show you the procedure, and then I'll just tell you the reading. So, you stick it in there, and then you rock it down until it starts going the opposite way. Whatever the middle ground is. So, this looks like 2 thousandths, 0, 0, 2, 3. That's perfect. You ain't gonna get no better than that right there. So generally you want about 1 thousandths per inch of diameter of your journal. So I think, you know, this is a 238 journal. So this is perfect. I got a little bit of flash rusting going on. I'll be right back. All right, let me see if you can. This one's a little bit tighter. All right, you see how it's going up and it stops right there and goes the other way. So that one's about 2 thousandths and 1 10,000th. My camera's stuck on a 0.0021. I'm good with that. All right, now we got the old thrust bearing. This one's a little bit different. Oh, that's tight. Oh, that's tight like a twigger. Get on in ya. All right. And on this, you can tell it's the thrust because the main cap has got like the cutout for where it goes. This bearing doesn't fit very good, but tell you what I'm going to do. I'm gonna bolt it down and ease it down and see what it does. It's in there, and I feel like if I just, you know, bring him on down slow. Talking about bring him on down slow. It's gonna be all right. I think it's gonna crush. I mean correctly, like a good crush, not a bad crush. Straight down in there. Boy, it's some smooth action. I like this torque wrench. Whoa, baby. There she goes. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be all right. Kind of got a weird little cutout on the, oh yeah, she's squeezing out now. She good. Click. Well, I see a good bit of water standing on the back of my cam bearing. 2-1. I'm good with that. Come on down. Squeezing some oil out. Looking good. I do wish I had a little bit more aggressive click. I like the click. I wish it was more. Okay. And stick him in. Ease him. Oh, that one's a little bit snug. I'm gonna say let's get more vertical here. Oh, that's good. 2-3. Okay, let me come back over here. Oh, geez. Am I centered? Yeah, centered. Oh, yeah, baby. Two, 3, 2, 4. I'll call that one 2-4. Looking good. Looking good. All right. Boy, that sucker just popped in. And I guess, you know, it did get off my shirt a little bit. 2-2. 2-3. Yeah. 2-3. I'm good with that. Man, shoot yeah. Shoot yeah. This is going to be a good running little engine, I feel like. Not that the bearing clearance has a lot to do with the quality of combustion, but makes me feel better. Let's see. What we got? Give me some good news. Beautiful. 23. I guess the correct term is 23 10,000ths. 0.0023. Yeah. Nice. Nice clearance. I like it. One more. Alrighty. Now, last and final main measurement. What you got, buddy? 2-4. Okay. Beautiful. Now, so now that that's done, I can take the crank. I think I need to clean it a little bit more, but I'm going to go ahead, clean it, take all the main caps off, and as long as these all stay in order, keep the bearings where they go, then this should be ready to lube it, set the crank in, torque it down, and then I can start working on other things. But, you know what? I need to check the rings, so I may do that next. Just get my rings, slide them in. There shouldn't be any kind of weird file fit or nothing because this thing's just old run-of-the-mill rig. Ain't nothing fancy about it. So let me do that. I'll flip him over. This is good to go. The crank is ready to be put in, but let me check the rings and I'll show you how I do that. I guess I don't know. I'll show you. These rings I got are sealed power rings, and generally they have a marking on them. Like this one right here has a mark, a little dot to indicate it goes up. And I'm sure these are economy rings because I'm cheap. But this, I don't see a bevel. I don't see anything, but whatever. So what you want to do is pop the ring in. Then you can use your piston and just square him up. And then you want to check, is that square? That doesn't look very square to me. Let's go down a little bit right there. All right. And now you take a feeler gauge and you want to check your ring gap. That feels pretty good. That's 20 thousandths. I don't know how much it's supposed to be. I'm going to have to Google it. But that sounds about right. So that's the top ring. And now I'm going to keep it with this piston. Then I'm going to go and grab me a number 2 ring. I'm going to set it in there. Square it up. Check the gap. It's a little tighter than 20. Well, that 20 will go, but it's tight. All right, so let me look up the specs, and then that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to check each one, and then, so this ring's good, I know. I'll put it on this piston. This is number 1. They marked it. Somebody's been in here. I told you. Somebody's been in here and rebuilt at it. I don't think they actually rebuilt it, but they rebuilt at it. And so yeah, I'll do that. Let me check the specs and see. I can't tell if my face is in the camera, but either way, I'll be right back. All right, I got an issue. And it seems like I always run into this issue, but this time I don't feel like I'm being nitpicky. I feel like it's a genuine issue. So I got the number 1, I checked the rings, the gap. It says it should be between 10 and 20. I got about 20. I'm good with that. The biggest issue is I said, you know what? Let me go on and check this rod and see what the clearance is on it. So I set my mic up, I put it on there, and it showed half of a thousandth. So I said, whoa, that's a little bit tight. It should be about 2 thousandths. So I swapped bearings and I checked it again. Same deal, half a thousandth. Then I said, all right, it's just me. I didn't set my gauge right. I set it again, checked it again, half a thousandth. So here we go again with rods. I had the same issue on Troy's motor, but Troy's motor, I was being very particular about it. I think it had like 1.8 and I was trying to get 2.5. If this was 1.8, I'd run it, but it's under a thousandth of clearance, and I don't know, I feel like that's way too tight. If it was a thousandth, that's still too tight. It's still too tight. For this was going to be a weekend deal. Remember that? I was going to pull the engine, re-ring and re-bearing it, toss it back together, and be done. And this sucker has proved me wrong. Which, if I can ever get moving on it, get the bottom end put together, the rest of it will fly. But I feel like this is the important stuff that has to be done right to get some kind of longevity out of it. So, that's where I'm at. All right, so I keep getting too tight of a clearance on my rod bearings. I don't know why. And this 20 thousandths under, the only thing I know, the journals on the rods have been cut 20. So the clearance I'm getting is one of them was half a thousandth, which is not enough. The number 2, I messed with it a little bit, and I got it to like 1.1, 1.2, which is still not enough. I need about a thousandth more. I'd like to have about a thousandth more. And I'll look up the spec and see what it says to be 100% sure. But like I was saying, I really want to do this right. These pistons are made in India. Interesting. Did not know that. Sealed power. Boy, have you seen them videos? Anyway, so, all right. What I'm going to do is plastic gauge this just to see if maybe I'm holding my mouth wrong, or I'm holding my gauge wrong, or I'm doing something wrong. I just want to verify with the plastic gauge and say, okay, yeah, you're under a thousandth. There is an issue, and then I'll need to figure out how to address it. And I wish I hadn't put the crank in now, because the only way I know to do it basically is to turn the crank down a thousandth. And if that's what I got to do, then so be it. But I may be able to do something with the rods. Let's see. Give me just a second. I'll set this up and show you this. Them pistons are snug too. I'm going to have to measure that, I guess. Boy, golly geez, mister. Get on in there. I love these compressors, these ring compressors, man, they are nice. They make it so much easier than messing with all that other jazz. Kind of feels like I'm having to give it too much helpings. Let me see. Let me see where my rod is. Way over there. Oh, she's a twisted. Let's just keep on. And when you check it with plastic gauge, you don't want any oil or anything on it. You want it to be dry. Boy, that is snug. Now the way this works is you take the plastic gauge, you cut your little strip. That sucker already got smashed a little bit. Alright, that piece ain't no good. Hang on. Alright, I cut me another strip. Yeah, that looks good. See, it's a flat little rope deal. You take it to the limit. All right, you take it, lay it right across the top, put your cap on, make sure it's on the right way. Then put your bolts on and torque them. And then it'll crush and it'll give you, it'll flatten out into an indication of how tight it actually is, and you can compare it, how flat it is, to this little chart here. I'll show you in just a second. What I don't like about this is, I just don't like it. I like doing the math, but when you get into a situation like this where I don't know if maybe I'm being stupid and not doing the math right, which is highly possible. Fight the cap. I'm sure it's stuck. Not bad. Alright. And then it leaves an indentation. Can you see how that width? And then you take this little here piece of paper. I don't want to know how many millimeters it is. I want to know how many Americans it is. And it shows you on there and you check the width against that. That shows 1.5 thousandths. Boy, it may be closer to 1. It's for sure closer to 1, which is good and bad. It's good because it verifies what I was thinking, what I was measuring with my actual gauge. It's bad because it's too freaking tight. Hey, all right, so I can't remember where I left off, but everything was going so good, so smooth. Then I ran into an issue. When I checked the first rod clearance, it was 4 10,000ths. And you know, like I was saying, you want about 1 thou per inch of main or inch of rod journal, whichever. So I thought about 2 would be perfect on this. It's a 2 100. So anyhow, I got to messing with them and checking them all, and they were all about the same. They were under 1, under 1,000th. And I said, that ain't good enough. So I called Jim where he did all my machine work for me. And he said, hey man, bring them back. If you have a question about it, we'll take a look at them. So Saturday morning, I took him up there, met him. He was doing some work, and I got up there and I explained to him what I had going on. And I mean, he didn't even bat an eye. He's like, let's check them. I'll resize them right here while you wait. Because I thought I was going to have to drop them off, and I thought this was going to drag out. But that dude is super nice guy, extremely personable. And he said, he said, man, hey, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me. I've built several engines, but when I ran into this issue, I just thought I was shut down until I could get some machine work done. But So he resized them, and now I've checked them. I think this is number 6, and so far they're coming out about right. Now I was a little bit loose on the tolerance because that's another thing. I'm not saying the dude lost sleep over it, but when I got there this morning, he had already pulled up the specs on my engine. So the specs for the rods are 8 10,000ths, which is pretty dadgum tight, to 1.5. And so far, I've not had one over 1.5. I've had 1.1, 1.3, but they're coming out perfect. So I got 2 that are 1.5 and 2 that are 1.1. I may swap them. Just see what they do, you know. But anyhow, I'll show you how I do it. So I got my rod that he turned, he cleaned it out. So I'm going to take the cap off. I don't know how much of this you want to see, but I don't know. I always think this stuff's interesting. Also, I broke a compression ring when I was taking it apart, and I asked Jim about it, and he said, let me see if I got one laying around, and just no charge. He just gave me one. I mean, that's freaking awesome. All right, insert. And the last one, let me give him just a little wipe down with my dirty rag. Insert. All right, then you put it on, lining up. They go a certain way. Give me a little bit of driven. You can use any oil. I just like this old driven. Oil my studs there. Put my nuts on. That one's got a little praying spot, but it's all right. Also, I lost a nut in this here shop. It's here somewhere, but I tore it apart the other day, and Jack looked for it, and then my daughter looked for it. I can't find that nut. And this is not a very big shop, and it's pretty clean, you know, for a shop. I'm going to have to move this mic. I feel it rubbing on my double chin. Torqued to 45. All right, now slide him out. Clamp him. And my dial bore gauge is set to the rod journals. Oh, that's a little bit tight. But it's within spec. It's 8 10,000ths. All right, I'm going to swap that with a different one. One that's a little bit looser, and see if I gain the clearance there, because that's a little tight. All right, be right back when I get that done. So what I did was I took the one that had 1.5 thousandths of clearance, and I took the one that had 8 10,000ths of clearance, and I swapped the bearing shells from this one to that one, and it was a very minute amount. I'm talking about 1 10,000th of an inch, but the spec is 8 to 1.5. So I flipped them, and now I've got 1.4 and I've got 9 10,000ths. So they're pretty close. I think this is going to work good here. I thought this project was shut down because of this, but I'm back rolling now, baby. All right, so I had a little bit of a setback with the rod deal, but you know, Jim took care of that, so that's awesome. Also, I lost a ring. I broke a ring when I was trying to get them off the pistons. I broke a ring. So I ended up, Jim had one. It was 40 thousandths. I had to file fit it, but that's freaking awesome. He just said, hey man, I got one extra. Here you go. So now I'm all set. Got my rings checked and ready to go. Well, then as I was, you know, digging around, the block seemed awful dirty still. So I went ahead, took the crank back out, washed the crank, and washed the block again. So now we're ready for final assembly, I think. I don't know, I'm paranoid. I've built some engines, but I ain't no engine builder. And I always try to like to do it, you know, the right way. Make sure everything's right. So these pistons that I got, man, they are snug. And so I checked them. I checked the bores and everything, and they showed dead on 4030. So it looked like, you know, Jim did a really good job there. Well, then I checked, I marked the actual piston, set my dial bore gauge to that, and I don't know. I think I just got paranoid and got a little bit of floppy weirdness going on. But I need to get. But anyways, so these pistons are tight, but on the box it says a minimum requirement of 1,000th of clearance. I mean, I don't know. I've never really checked piston to wall clearance. They always just fit. So we'll just see how it goes. But I'm going to put the crank in, torque everything, flip it over. But give me just 1 second. All right, let me spray some stuff on these lifter bores. All right. Yeah, I know you've seen me do this, but maybe you haven't seen it. Maybe I edit that out. I'm not sure. I'm going to stick this jewel right back down in here, gingerly. Get me another little dollop of this business. That's okay. I mean, I guess I put it on the wrong hand to begin with. And I cleaned the block again because, man, there's just some like junk on it. You know, just made me feel better to clean it up the rest of the way. Yeah. Okay. Now time to put a piston in. All right, I found it. I remember I had this years ago when I built my Mustang, and I hated it because I always thought it was such a pain. And all it does, though, you feed it up around the crank and then connect it to the rods, and it protects the rods. I'm sorry, it protects the crankshaft from the rod anchors, studs. Man, I can't talk. Tain't long enough, so I need to rotate the engine. Let's rotate him straight up. Straight up now, tell me. And then we'll go up. Now we should have slide him in. Oh, so you can see that. See that? That'll protect it. I probably just scratched it, but you know, man, hey, who's counting? All right. And then we want to lube him. Want to lube him up. Lube up these rings. I don't know, but I've always been told Marble Mystery Oil helps rings break in. My buddy that told me that, I feel like is a super genius, so if he says something, I normally just go with it. He is way smarter than me. These loaders, I don't remember if I've talked about this or not, but these things are so nice. All right, let me get me a little mallet, as they call it in France. Boy, you know what I didn't do? I did not put any lube on that bearing. That was a mistake. But it's easily correctable. Pop out. Probably watching now going, geez, I don't know if I'd let that dude rebuild an engine. Hey man, people make mistakes. And I caught it. All right. There we go. Lube him. Lube him nice, okay. You can even, I think you can preload this thing. Yeah, look at that. To where you ain't sitting there fighting the rings. You just ease it in. Okay. And then 1 and 2. You shouldn't have to force it. You should just go right on in there. All right, now, as I say, you shouldn't have to force it. Let me strategically beat on it with a hammer. Yeah. Houston, we may have a problem. But I'm not going to freak out yet. I'll freak out in a minute. But that piston is sticking up above the deck. And I don't like that. Oh, it's always something. Ain't no point in getting upset until I get it. Let me see where it's at. Because it may just be, oh, I don't think it's going to come up that much. All right, let's get the cap and torque it. Give me a second. Man, these pistons are, I'm talking about snugly. I'm talking about real snug. Yeah, the piston shouldn't sit up above the deck like that unless you want 1,000,000-to-1 compression, I think. I think it'll just crash into the bottom of the cylinder head. So I'm really hoping that was like an optical illusion. You remember that time I said I was gonna rebuild this for like $200? That's pretty funny. Oh man, that is surely above the deck. Okay, like I said, I ain't no engine builder. I've never ran into this issue, but so you got a gasket, and I think the gasket on this is 35 thousandths, but this is sticking up, and I need to figure out how much it's sticking up. So what I'm gonna do is I need to get it at the very top first. So I'll get a dial indicator and I'll roll it up until it's at the very top. That'll give me an idea. Then I should be able to take like a nice little straight edge and then check it with feeler gauges, and that'll tell me how much up it is. I just don't think they're supposed to stick out like that. Seems like that'll crash into the bottom of the head, but what do I know? All right, give me a second. Okay, so I got my dial indicator set up, and what I'm looking for is it to go one way and then stop. Okay, so here we go. It's going that way, it's going that way, it's going that way. Oh, stopped and it went back. Okay, so that's my maximum height. Oh, my ratchet broke. All right, let's go back because it was right on 0, it looked like. Yes, right on 0. Just a little bump. Okay. Now let me find a straight edge or something. This thing, pretty flat, pretty nice. So let's check the gap there. Here's 20 thousandths. Woo, that'll go. Jeez, man, scare me. I'm on 25, that will not go. Boy, so I don't know if the block was decked too much. Jeez, I mean, I don't know if that piston should be poking up like that. I'm gonna say that it shouldn't. I'm gonna go ahead and stab another one. I can't imagine what would be wrong here. I mean, either the deck's been blocked either the block's been decked too much. Man, it'd take a considerable amount of surfacing to get, if it was 45 in the hole from the factory and now it's 20 out, that's a lot. I don't know how that could happen, but I'm gonna go ahead and just keep on keeping on. This got me bad worried now. I don't understand why anybody would love something that almost makes them a crazy person. My wife called and I couldn't hardly talk to her. She said, well, What's going on? So I don't know, man. I can't think straight. She said, what's wrong? I said, well, this engine ain't going together good. I'm sure if I had like a bunch of experience doing this and wasn't always in a hurry, it wouldn't be no big deal. People do this stuff all the time. There's people that do this for a living. I mean, that'd be awesome. Remember when I said how snug these things were? I wasn't kidding. You just got to find that sweet spot. And I mean, look at that. It's ginger. You just got to be ginger. I don't know that I think my rings are going. Yeah. Guess what? That's sticking up too. I mean, it looks cool. Maybe it'll make a whole lot of torque if I can run it like that. I'm not sure. I don't think that's a zero deck. I thought a zero deck would be, it's flat. But I can't remember if I said this or not. I'm not an engine builder. I'm learning in my old age. I got buddies that like literally just toss this junk together, don't even measure nothing, and have fantastic luck. And I'm just not that guy. I'll measure everything 7,000 times. The trick could be that maybe I'm not that good at measuring stuff. I didn't ever think about that until I just said it out loud. Okay, so I did a little bit of math. I had a little small, like I said, I ain't built a whole lot of engines, but generally the piston doesn't stick up out of the hole and stuff I've built in the past. But I got on this old Summit calculator here and went through it. And it's got a compression deal. So you put in your bore, your stroke, your cylinder head volume, the effective dome or dish, the deck clearance, the compressed gasket thickness. I don't know why I hung up like that. I don't know if that'll work. And the number of cylinders. And when you put all that in, and he milled a little bit off the heads, I don't know what, but let's say it's the stock head. It's still 879 to 1. It's fine. Okay. And if it's, let's say 72 on the head, it's 9 to 1. So there's nothing to freak out about. It's going to be fine. It's going to run fine. So I'm just going to continue on putting all the old cylinders in here. Pistons. All right, I got all the pistons in. Oh, didn't mean to smack the camera with that. Things looking pretty good. It feels good. It's toy like a Toiger. I don't, I think that Windsor I did was pretty daggum tight. So cheap cast rings. Look at that. That's looking sharp. That's moving nice. We're ready to make some torque and tow some heavy loads, baby. All right, cleaned up my pickup tube. It looks pretty good. I got my oil pump. I gotta remember how this thing goes on here. Yep, that looks good. So I'm going to, put a little bit of my oil. That green oil, man, it kind of freaks me out every time. Put some oil on a gasket. I like silicone on just about every gasket. It just don't make sense to put it on this one because, I don't know, it's always in it. It's always submerged. It ain't really, I just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Now, my 2 Earl pump bolts. I like the torque stuff. because it makes me feel like I'm fancy, like I'm a fancy pants. But I ain't got a torque wrench that'll fit down in yonder, so I'm just gonna give these the old, I'm gonna put about, I think that's 25 foot-pounds right there. Yep. And you know, sometimes you turn enough wrenches for a while, you just know. You can just feel it. Let me oil this up. My gasket kind of looks like it rolled around in the box and got beat up a little. And then the gasket that came in my rebuild kit, it don't look right. So I'm going to use this one. Line him up. Bolt him down. Looks like that connecting rod's going to hit the sump, but I don't think it will. But I don't actually know. I mean, I feel like it's not going to, but I don't actually know. Look at this. This is starting to kind of look like an engine now. I mean, not really, but it's, you know, if I was to put the pan on there, it really would look like an engine. Should have got a ratchet wrench. Now my ratchet wrench is gone. I've lost it somewhere. You know what? I did not check thrust, but I'm sure it's fine. Knock on wood. Just make sure those are at 25, and they are. And 25, 25. Oh yeah. The old locking nut. And I'm gonna put about 20 on it. Oh, that was 25, it'll be all right. Now here's something that I like to do, and I can't remember if Matt taught me this. Open this little Earl pump up and have a peek inside of him. And I've done this on just about every rebuild since he showed me. You see, it's got some oil in there. It does have oil in it. And I'm trying not to get them fingers, but I can't trust myself. Okay, what he told me years ago was to put some assembly lube in there, and that way it's got something nice for the first start. All right, I put a light smattering on there. I didn't get real crazy. I just put, you know, I already put some on, but just on the outside, all the gears. Just look how stringy that driven assembly oil is. That's just crazy. No drip formula. That stuff is stringy, like string cheese. I like it. And you know, look at this. I'm gonna top it off with a little bit of break-in oil. You can't over oil the oil pump. I don't think. I don't think you can. That may not do nothing, but I tell you what it does for me. It gives me a little bit of peace of mind. I know that oil pump has some lube that's gonna be on it, because it may not be, I may not start this thing tomorrow, I may not start it, you know, 2 days from now, it may be a week or something. And even if you prime it, well, you know, now you ain't got to worry about it. I mean, you can prime it. I'm gonna prime it probably, but you've that probably needs to be 15 foot-pounds. Yeah, I can feel it. Beautiful. All right, so wrapping this video up, I'm gonna bust these up into smaller parts. I really thought I could do this all in one shot with, you know, of course pulling it and all that's one video, but then I thought, well, I'll just rebuild the whole thing in one video. There's a whole lot that goes into building an engine. Even the small amount that I know, there's a lot. And I ran into so many issues with this one that I thought that it would be best to try and document it, and maybe somebody can get something out of what I'm doing. So I'm gonna try to, you know, I got the engine built and I'm trying to just like wrap all of this up and edit everything, but I'm new to the YouTube thing. I'm still working my way through it. The editing stuff takes me forever. I can build an engine fairly quick, but the editing stuff, I'm still trying to grasp that. So anyways, bear with me, and I'll get the rest of these put out. It's going to be faster, and I know it's been a few weeks since I put anything out, but now that I got the engine put together and everything, I think I can zoom through these a little bit faster. So there's going to be like a part 2 and maybe a part 3. I'm not real sure, but I really wanted to document all the issues that I had, and maybe it'll help somebody that's having a similar issue. So yeah, thank y'all for subscribing. Thank y'all for liking. I appreciate everything. If y'all have any questions, just let me know. And if I did something I'm not supposed to be doing, you know, holler at me, let me know. Because like I said, I've said it 1,000 times, but I'm not an engine builder, but I really do enjoy doing this stuff, and I've had pretty good success with it, pretty good luck, and I've learned a lot along the way. But anyhow, hit me up with some questions or tell me what you would like to see different or whatever. But yeah, thank y'all. Appreciate it very much.